Hello everyone and welcome to the next in this season of Heads Up. Today I'm so excited to welcome two very special guests. We have Rifka Meyer and we have Ramie Smith from the organization GETToutUK. So many people will maybe recognize Rifka from her salon in Golders Green, but we're not here to talk about scheitels, however much that is interesting, and maybe that's for another time. But today we're here to talk about a very, very important topic, one that I don't think is spoken about enough, and many people maybe not even be aware of it. So I'm going to really hand over to them to share their story and to explain a little bit about GETToutUK and how they came to found this incredible organization. So thank you so much for joining us, Rifka and Ramie. Thank you so
for
much.
having us.
And welcome to Purim Ritual. So over to you. What is GETToutUK?
Okay, so I'll give a brief summary of how we came to be. GETToutUK was formed in late August, September 2020, very recently. It wasn't a lockdown crisis phase. It came because I had a very short second marriage. It lasted 2.5 years, and I was refused to get for 9.5 years. In that time, I tried everything, worked with all the batei and traveled different places and tried every which way to get my gett. I was always refused. And last July, seeing a campaign that actually Dalia Uziel started on Instagram called Keeping It Real, and people just posting different things about what you see on Instagram, on social media is an actual reality. I decided to talk about being an Agunot because it's a topic nobody at that point was ever speaking about, and it was a very taboo topic and a very hush-hush topic. And so I started talking. I posted a post, what you see, girl boss, entrepreneur, mom, businesswoman, travel, this, that, and what's in reality, how I got to build my business, what I went through, being refused to get 9.5 years. And my social media blew up, and I saw the demand of people like wanting to talk about it. So I started every week talking a bit about Agunot, and I started hashtag Agunot and Agunot and Agunot anymore and whatever, like all different things. And I did a live that got shared 10,000 times. I would like talking about, if we should do protests and different things. And people were like really like talking about it, and all my clients were coming in and they were like, they'd have their wigs done and they'd turn around like really shyly afterwards, be like, by the way, I saw you on social media and it's so powerful and it's amazing and I'd love to be involved, and what should we do? And this was before any of the American Agunot revolution or whatever was happening. And Ramie, was sat in my chair as one of my clients, and I was doing her wig, and she also started talking to me that this is something she's really interested in, and she came to the UK, and I let her fill in her part. And and I was like, my head is exploding. There's so much to do. There's such a need. Like that. I was like, I couldn't even express like what needed to be done, and the response I was receiving. And Ramie just looked at me really calmly. She's just like, so what are you doing about it? And I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing about it? I'm a single mom and I have 5 kids and I'm running my salon and I'm working like almost 7 days a week. And she's like, well, I'll help you. I've also never set up a charity and I also don't know what I'm doing, but let's not know what we're doing together. So I'm like, okay. So we had a meeting. We came up with GETToutUK. I did another live. And from that live, the lawyers contacted me. They saw me on social media and they said, we have a case. Like we feel that you have a case. And they contacted my ex, and literally 1 month to the day of my first live, I received a gett. One day to the next, had no idea that gett was coming. I got a phone call from a different Beis Din I'd been working with. Please come to Beis Din. It was supposed to be the next day, but it was Erev Rosh Hashanah, so it was booked for Sam Gedalia the day after. And that was it. And Get Out had been formed, and we know for a fact that 3 other getts were given that same week because the men had heard of this organization that is come to town. We're here to stand up and to make a noise and to bridge the gap between the batei din and the people being refused to get. And they got scared. They didn't want their names publicized, and they actually gave a gett. And through this story is how the whole thing in America came to be as well.
So wait, there's so many things I have to ask you about. This is incredible. Okay, my mind is blowing. Okay, first of all, can you explain just what does it mean to be an Agunot? What does it mean to get a gett? Like why is it such a bad situation to be in?
Okay, Rami, do you want
So
to?
I'll take that. So an Aguna is a man or a woman. We do have a client who's a man, and it's not as common, but it does happen where men are refused gets. According to Jewish law, a man has to grant his wife her divorce. So there are cases, most cases kind of go smoothly, go off without a hitch. A couple decides their marriage is over, they go to a beis din, and the husband gives the wife a get, she accepts it, they move on with their lives. There are cases for various reasons why most often men don't want to grant their wives the divorce, though again, it does happen the other way around. But in order for a Jewish divorce to go through, one party has to grant it and the other party has to accept it. So there's kind of two ends in which it might not go through. It happens in a minority of cases, but in those cases that it does happen, it's an incredibly painful situation to be in. It's considered now, according to the law, a form of domestic abuse. It's clear coercion and control and manipulation, and it's kind of, from what we've seen, it's often the last kind of control that a partner can have over their ex, and so they use that to either manipulate custody, get money, just make them feel kind of yuck about things, not allow them to move on with their lives, not allow them to get remarried, start a new family. So it's an incredibly painful situation, and like Rifka said, people can be in this situation for many years and their community won't know about it. I had heard through the grapevine that Rifka was an Aguna, and I was deciding whether or not I was going to say something about it. And my background is in Jewish education and really like women's halacha and that sphere. So after she did the live, I was sitting in her chair and I just felt like, you know what? This is what I'm trained to do, and we need to do something about it. Like if Rifka has this experience and she has the background in that, and I have the background in kind of pastoral support and some halachic training, the two of us together can really kind of ease this process, or like Rifka said, we say we bridge the gap between the people who are going through this and either the batei or the secular courts or whatever it is they're doing. We try to smooth out that process for them.
Wow. So Rami, where are you from? I hear you've got an accent. How did you arrive here?
I was thinking you have an accent. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, but I spent many years living in New York City. I went to Stern College for Women, and then I spent many years working in education, women's education, teaching Kallahs classes, bat mitzvah classes, working in shuls, working in some Jewish production stuff. My background's in media production. And then I was in LA for a bit, doing some media stuff with Meyer and teaching Talmud at Shalhevet High School. And actually, when I moved here, I was doing a bit of work with GETToUK, and I had mentioned to some people I was meeting with in the community that I wanted to do some work on halachic prenup, and everyone told me not to touch it. And this was before I knew Rifka. This was even before I went to Rifka for my shaytels. This was like my second week in London. And so I said, like, I really, it's crazy. At my wedding, we talked about the halachic prenup under the chuppah. We read a prayer for Agunot under the chuppah. Like, it's always been something that has been really important to me. And I was very upset that it didn't exist here. And I was told not to touch it. And then when I met Rifka, it was like this coming together of like someone who has this experience and this knowledge with me, who has like a different set of experience and a different set of knowledge, but combined, we both kind of just decided, like, we're not going to let people shut us up. We're going to just go.
It's incredible because I'm a patron of Rifka's salon, and I've been to many times. And as you said, Amy, I've sat in your chair and I would not have a clue of what you were going through personally. I think that's incredible, for you not to have shared it and had to suffer with that burden on your own shoulders. But I actually remember as a crazy story, because I actually came to you, not that you would remember this, but I came to you on the day that you got your gett to your salon. I was getting my shaytel blown out or whatever it was, and you were on the phone backwards and forwards outside the salon, and you were like totally not really with it. And I remember seeing somebody else, so it's fine. It was somebody else in your salon who was working there, and you just, him and hi, I've got to go, and you were like totally not yourself. And then the next day I found out that you got your gett that day, and I was like, that's why she was So, because I mean, the stress you must have been under when you until you received that get.
My colleague always tells me, because the morning was left blank. Sorry.
Don't worry, it's fine.
My day was left blank. I didn't know what time I would be told, come now. And like I said, it was extremely spontaneous. It'd been 9.5 years. And there had been times that I was pulled to base then and I was guaranteed it's going to be, and it was a letdown. So there's that fear of that crash coming and that letdown and that feeling of again, and how low will you go, and that who's going to pick me up, and do I have the strength? Like, I knew I do have the strength inside of me, but it was that fear of don't say anything to anyone, like let's just do it. Obviously my co-workers knew, my kids and my sibling, my two sisters came with me, but my morning was left to dye wigs, and my colleague said she has never seen me work like I worked that morning. I was on, like, it was like, I don't know what I was on. I was like, boom, 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 next color, next. I was just focused. And every time now she's like, Rifka, color wigs like the day you were getting your get. That's it. I was like on something, but I was like, literally no one could talk to me. I was just like tunnel vision, just do this. I was davening. I was like, just do this. The wigs were the best wigs I've ever done, I'm sure. But wow.
Okay, so you set up this incredible charity. So what can you do? What are you doing? What can GETToutUK actually do to help women and men in this terrible situation?
So our goal is to help people on their journey towards receiving their get. So we help with emotional support. We have an amazing WhatsApp group with quite a few of the cases that we're working on. They're there. So someone writes, I have a din Torah today. I'm going to the bet din at 2:00, and they give their name, and everyone's like, sends their wishes, sends their thoughts. They'll say Tehillim for them, or I've got court today, or they just want to share a meme that gives support or good Yom Tov to everyone, or whatever it is. One of our cases got her get, so she shared on the group, and it's just like each one understands each other's pain and what they're going through. So it's a really beautiful thing that we've connected everyone. They don't know each other, but they know each other's names.
Because it must have been quite isolating, as you said, because no one knew you were going through it, and that's part of the tragedy, that everyone's suffering on their own until you've stopped.
And it's something no one wants to talk about. It's like, oh, I know how to talk about that topic, so we'll just leave that. And it's like, okay, so many times people are like, how should I write your name when you're going to a wedding? Like, how do you want me to, like, Rifka this, Rifka Salo, like how, I'm like, whatever, just Rifka, just do Rifka with an F, it's fine. But it's very lonely. So just knowing there's other people out there is comforting. So we offer emotional support. We also, like, Ramie and I are on the phone every evening, every morning, when, not whenever they need, because we have like time frames and things that we need to work as well, but we're there for them. We have an amazing legal team. So we offer legal, we have a legal team that we work with, and we coordinate like legal advice. And we have fantastic relationship with all the batei then here in London. Hopefully we're going to be broadening out to Manchester as well. But we have, thank God, we're very respected by it, and we also respect all the dayanim that we work with, and we work very closely with them, and that really, really helps. And that was very important to both Ramie and myself, that we wanted to reassure them that we're here to work with them. We're here to help the process. We want to make this journey less painful than it could be. And I literally was on the phone call to one of our cases, like 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes, so I had to come on here. I was on the phone to her for an hour, and it was a lot of pain in that conversation. And one of the things I said was, we're here to, if it means that we're shortening the pain that you're by 6 months, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know when your day of rejoicement and the end of this is going to be. I can't tell you. And I can't say that we're going to have a result tomorrow. I wish I could, but it doesn't work like that. For every case, there's a process, and we have to go through the right process in order to get the result. That's the way it works. But if it means that we're shortening that by a month or 6 months, that's what we're doing. There's no way we'd know what it would be without GETToutUK. But all I know is that we are, because I know when I was in communication with the Beis Din, I waited on average 6 weeks from email till response that I had to get, because they're busy. And I know that since we've been on board, people are waiting on average 5 days for a response. So we are shortening that time frame for them, and we are making them feel the support from us and from the base and around them. So we're seeing changes happen.
We liaise with the batei din on behalf of our clients, which for many of them is helpful because it's such an emotional issue. Having productive conversations. What?
Very, very scary also, like we're not really used to chatting with Dayanim and
so exactly. So one of the things we do actually is also go to Beis Din with our clients. There's usually for a din Torah or for the giving of a gett, there's a minimum of 5 or 6 men in the room. There could be even more, and very often the woman is the only woman. So even just having another woman in the room for visibility and support is a huge change for our clients. And it's not like we do it, we don't go in and we don't work. I'm not a toenet. I'm not going in and like making a case. Though the batei din have been very open and said if women want to be toenet, they're welcome to, which was pretty cool to hear. But they know us. So like I went to a din Torah last week with our client. I had spoken beforehand to the dayanim. They know we're familiar with the case. They know they can coordinate with us afterward what they're thinking. We can push things forward with the couple, and to have that relationship on both sides is very, very helpful. And I just want to name, because I don't think, in this line of work, batei din get enough credit where credit is due. I was in Federation last week, and I actually thanked the Dayan Hul afterward for such a sensitive and masterful din Torah, where he was validating and emotionally supportive. And obviously, even if I wasn't there, it would have been intimidating to be the only woman in the room. But to just know that there is a sensitivity to this issue is something that is, it's not because of us. Like the dayanim are very sensitive, but sometimes because this is such a private issue, either people don't come forward with what's painful to them, or when they come forward, it's in such an emotional burst that it doesn't always come off in a way that's well received. So by mediating through both sides, we're really able to smooth that out and get both sides' needs across. And we're able to communicate to the client, this is what the Beit Din is actually doing. I know you think they're not being as helpful as they can be. Trust me, they are doing a lot. Right. And I think some of our clients are very surprised that we're quite defensive of the dayanim often, but we've seen, especially since our connections kind of clicked with the batei din, we've seen that they are working very, very hard to resolve these cases. Okay. They're not sleeping on the job. They're creative and they're thoughtful. And sometimes it just kind of takes the right bridge to make things work a little bit smoother and more productively.
I think it's amazing because I saw the campaign in America. For those people that don't know, there's a huge campaign at the moment on Instagram with this, we mentioned before, there's a singer, she's a Jewish singer, female singer called Dalia Oziel, I think you pronounce her last name. And she started a campaign because somebody sent her a message, just like Rifka sent her a message about her story. Someone who's also in the same situation sent a message to her. And she's now started this whole free Chava campaign, Pink Out Thursdays. People are wearing pink on Thursdays to support Chava, who still has not yet received her gett. And there's been an absolute explosion over social media of protests and people lobbying outside, and big Rabbanim have come out and doing rallies in the streets all over America. I've seen posters and pictures. And I think it is incredible that now suddenly people are waking up that it's such a huge deal. Why do you think?
I'm not going to say it, but Rifka started this.
That was my next thing I was going to say. So my first
Chava contacted us first, and then I was like, what can you do? How did it happen? And then they Dalia posted my conversation with her when I told her, because of your Keeping It Real campaign 6 months ago, this is the result. And then she was like crying, oh my gosh, look what happened through my page. And then they're like, okay, she's got a huge platform, and it all like spirals from that.
Incredible. It's incredible. So why do you think it is so taboo? What is it about it that makes it so taboo? Why is it such a stigma around it?
It's an uncomfortable subject. It's a subject that people don't like to talk about. It's in divorce.
But what the question? Sorry. The question, the reason I'm asking is because I think divorce is something that in the secular society, it's become normal. It's become normalized. It's very common for people in schools to have, I teach in a school for people to have divorced parents. That's not uncommon now, but something with there's an issue with
this isn't divorce, this is abuse. So that's the difference.
Right.
This isn't, when a get goes through quickly and smoothly, people talk about divorce. When there's some sort of holdup in the get, and there are, like we constantly get asked, like, how many days or months or minutes does someone have to wait to be an aguna? Is it ever acceptable? There are so many different reasons that a get might be held up. Refusing to give a get, and the law actually clarifies the unreasonable withholding of a get is abuse. And we actually don't like to talk about abuse very much in our community. And one of the things Rifka and I talk about a lot amongst ourselves is that we sometimes see that there are people in our community who are not good. And to have to face a level of evil in amongst us is very uncomfortable. And that's not to say, every get refuser or someone who's waiting while it's complicated. There again, like we're obviously, we don't say, everyone is evil, but there are certain cases where people are evil and they're withholding a get because they want to make sure that their wife can't have children with someone else or remarry or move on, or they're extorting for money. Like, there's evil, and we don't like to face that evil. So if we don't talk about it, we can pretend it's not there, and that's very sad.
Terrible. So what can we do, people watching, people listening, what can we do to help this situation, to help the women and the men who are struggling with this now?
We can talk about this, and we can spread the word, and we can create that awareness that it will not be tolerated. If anyone knows anyone who's in this situation, it's never acceptable. There's always giving a get as a halachic obligation that a man has. He has to do, and it's not a negotiable topic, although it's become a means of control and their leverage. It's actually not. It wasn't written. The whole concept of a get wasn't written for that purpose. And to spread and just to keep talking about it, keep the awareness, and yeah, to me that's the most important thing. Is just like the silence it doesn't help anyone, and I think it makes, if anyone, for the people get divorced, it is going to happen, but if people know that they're gonna feel that pressure and it's not the right thing, and there are organizations and there are people that will stand up, and they will get cut off from communities, and it will hopefully minimize the amount of cases that we have to deal with.
Yeah, and also one of the things we're starting to talk about and push for is for the United Synagogue shuls, and for any shul to have a policy in place, and for members to know what that policy is on allowing or not allowing get refusers into their shul. We also think, like, for the rabbi to speak about the issue once that, in the parsha where Aguna is mentioned, where a man goes off to war, that is a great opportunity to speak about it from the pulpit. And very often all it takes is a conversation from the pulpit to normalize it and to get the community talking. So any policies a shul can have is like a great tachlis thing. And the other thing is, is donate. We have 20 clients. We had 21. Thank God, one got her get a few weeks ago. We have 20 clients. The money, Rifka and I don't take any money from this. All the money goes to helping with private investigators and lawyers and therapists and
and based
And
in
gett, oh my gosh, the bills for Bastin, we help pay for Bastin bills, which is, how much does it cost to give a gett again? £600?
So London United Synagogue is 650, Federation is 550, Kallahs is 1,000. So yeah, it costs
It's a big expense.
When people go through civil courts and Bastin, the money's just not there.
And funding someone's gett is like the biggest mitzvah you can do. And so we have quite a few clients who will go for a Din Torah, who will go give the gett, and actually paying for that freedom document is a struggle because they're a single mother with young children and struggling with 2 jobs. And so the donations really make a tremendous difference for our clients.
So people can find you by Googling GETToutUK, looking.
Yeah, our website is GETToUK.org.
Amazing. I always end off each session by, before thanking you, just asking for you guys to give us some inspiration to keep our heads up for the month ahead. I think you've already said everything, because I am so inspired by the two of you. It's incredible what you've done, especially Rifka, having suffered so much and then wanting to share and to bring light to people who are in the same situation. It's incredible. But is there anything that you would like to add before we close, to give us all some inspiration and to keep us going from the month ahead?
Before I give my answer, I just want to say, yeah, what you said about Rifka is 100%. I mean, even while she was going through it, she was helping women with the mitzvah of covering their hair. She was welcoming brides and getting them excited. And the ability to be able to bring so much happiness and fulfillment to people's marriages while going through that it's not just who Rifka is publicly, it's who she is like through and through. And it really comes out in this work. It's incredible to work alongside it. So that's my first thing. My inspiring thing to leave people with is that things change when people make the change, and we're seeing that what the women of Israel are capable of doing. It's written all throughout the Gemara and throughout Halacha. Bnot Yisrael have this tremendous power to make change and to bring holiness to our community. And the women who are leading this movement and the people who are holding them up really are making that change. Like, it's happening in front of our eyes. We're living through a revolution. And so, let's keep it alive. Let's keep talking about it. Let's keep donating. Let's keep pushing for people to be alienating gett refusers and holding Agunot and men who are also being withheld a gett. But let's keep it going, because it started and we're not going back.
Thank you.
I'll jump in as well now and just say, I echo everything Ramie says about the organization. Thank God we've gone from 0 to 100 in a very short span of time. We thought we'd have time to set up the foundations of the organization and get the whole infrastructure in place, but people came out the woodwork, and they really need that. They held on to this as their hope, and we really do work around the clock, day and night, till very early hours of the morning, on a daily basis, on ideas, on communication all over the world. We're part of a huge network, and I stand by this, and I'm here to do this as long as I can, please God, and hopefully the organization will grow and we'll get more people to work with us and help. And the UK has to know that we're here. This will be a long term, well, hopefully we'll be shut down because we're not going to need it, and hopefully everything will be resolved and we'll have something in place to prevent the problem of gett refusal. But as long as we're needed, we are here. And yeah, just helping us get to that place by supporting us. And as Ramie says, 100% of the donations go to the cause. And we really need it, because it's really hard to spend time fundraising, but to also we hope to do a big charity fund thing in the next few months. But it's difficult, but it's really, really, I mean, this is literally changing people's lives, literally as clear as night and day. It's really making a difference to people.
Gosh, so much to think about. I think when you said before that you're supporting 20 people, you think about 20 people, but it's not just 20 people. You're supporting 20 people and their families and their wider families and the community. And I think what the two of you are doing, and the commitment that you've you've chosen to put yourselves into this situation is unbelievable. And I really, on behalf of everybody watching, I want to thank you both for all the work that you're doing, the tireless work that you're doing. It's such important work. And as you said, it's something that needs to be shouted about, because it was too quiet for too long. And as I mentioned before, for someone that sat in your chair, Rifka, and had no idea of the struggles that you were going through, and the fact that you welcome everyone into your salon with the biggest smile on your face, and to Ramie for picking up this job that you weren't really expecting to do and to run with it. I think it's really incredible. So really thank you so much. And to everyone watching, if you want more information, you can look at their website and the Instagram page to find out more information. And on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Rifka and to Ramie, and looking forward to seeing you in the next month's edition of Heads Up. Have a wonderful month.